It is a pleasure to host the mayors of Midland and Abilene here in our hometown today to share our optimism and also to discuss the purpose and the work of the West Texas Water Partnership. As a city manager, I can tell you that I've seen firsthand the impact of the drought in our area, what it's meant to our citizens, both our residents and also our businesses. It's had a big impact. I often meet with citizens of our community, citizen groups, civic organizations, business leaders, and one of the first questions that I'm often asked is, what is San Angelo doing about water? What can we expect? Well, this is what this meeting is about, to kind of give you an indication of what the West Texas Water Partnership is doing at this point. From a budgetary standpoint, I can tell you this. If the city of San Angelo were to go at it alone, to try to address our long-term water needs, it would be too cost prohibitive. It's just something that we wouldn't be able to maintain. So this is something that for us, the partnership affords us the opportunity to work together, not just to share our ideas, but also share our resources and share our costs associated with bringing the long-term water supply here. From my perspective, the West Texas Water Partnership is one of the most exciting and promising alliances that I've ever been a part of. It has also afforded us the opportunity to create an environment where our economies can flourish and the lives of our citizens are enriched. I am looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and working closely with our mayors and also with our citizens to ensure that the goals of the West Texas Partnership are realized. And right now, I have the distinct honor of presenting to you the Mayor of Abilene, Mayor Norm Archibald.
Thank you, Daniel, and it's an honor for me to be here today in San Angelo. I will tell you that the very first meeting that we ever had to discuss what is happening today took place here in San Angelo. And we met in December of 2010. And as we began to meet, we just got around the table and drank coffee and looked at each other and said, what could we do together to help to bring water to our area? And it was just really a simple discussion that if you don't sit down at the table and talk to people, you'll never know if there's a partnership there. One of the things that we had in common when we came to the table was that all three of us share in the Ivy Reservoir. That was something that we already had in common. And as we began to think about the fact that we share in that reservoir, we have pipelines that connect our cities, both to Abilene. The Ivy Pipeline comes through San Angelo on its way to Midland and Odessa. And it's like we have more in common than we thought. And yet we also realized that as we look to the future, that we had short-term needs and had long-term needs. And for the city of Abilene, we've been working, I'm finishing my 10th year as the mayor of the city. We've been working on a water reservoir the whole time that I've been the mayor. And we call it Cedar Ridge. And we actually have a permit, the city of Abilene does, in front of the TCEQ to build that reservoir. We also are in the very process as we speak of applying for the federal permit to actually build the dam which will hold the water in the reservoir. So we've made a lot of progress in the last 10 years. But as we have done this, we've come to the understanding that building and moving ahead together would be better than always trying to think about going on your own. Plus, there's some things that we've learned from each other is that we've all worked on some short-term supplies. I know from all the experience at Midland, and they'll tell you a little bit about their T-bar field, which brought groundwater to Midland, and the city of San Angelo has brought groundwater in process of bringing it from the Hickory Aquifer. And we've been totally dependent on surface water the whole time that Abilene has been in existence. Ours has always been about surface water. So the idea that we would share and support each other with resources, both surface water, groundwater, pipelines, that makes for a great partnership. And together we believe that there's opportunities for us to work together in sharing resources, and when one of us has a lot of water and the others don't, we're working together because what goes around comes around, and that's something we've all learned in life. But together, like any other project, working together makes a lot of sense. We're making it transparent to our citizens of what we're trying to do. And today we've announced this in Midland and in Abilene, and today we're here in San Angelo to complete this opportunity to share with all three cities that we have put together a partnership that we think will carry us forward. One of the things I would share to you is about a year ago, Senator Troy Frazier, who chairs the Natural Resources Committee in the Senate in Texas, he invited me to come and speak at the Senate Natural Resources Committee. And when he did, I talked about what Abilene was doing for itself, but then I talked about what we were doing in exploring opportunities for the future with Midland and San Angelo. And I cannot tell you that after the meeting, the number of people, both senators and representatives, who came to me and said, I can't believe y'all are doing this when it didn't seem like any other place in the state of Texas was thinking about working together. And made me kind of proud of our West Texas spirit that says we can work together. We can figure out if there's something we could do together. So all that being said, today I'm very proud to represent the city of Abilene today to tell you that we believe this partnership has many, many great possibilities. And working together is a very important thing for all of us. I think someday the state of Texas is going to expect us to work together. Not think it's a good idea. They're going to expect us to work together. And in doing so, we're all going to be better because we work together. Later on, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But am I going to next introduce Jerry? Jerry Morales is the newly elected mayor of Midland. He's been serving on their council for several years and has been involved in some of the discussions along the way, so he's not new to this. But I'm very proud to get a chance to work with Jerry, and he's going to come share some thoughts now.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. It's a great privilege. It's a great day as mayor of Midland to be a part of this West Texas partnership with my fellow mayors here. We're excited about this opportunity. We're looking forward to continuing to work forward on developing this relationship to benefit our region. Independently, our communities have been tackling the short-term water supply, and in Midland, as the Mayor Archibald alluded to, we have addressed our 50-year water supply with the T-Bar Ranch, which this water will be coming out of Winkler County. We invested $200 million in infrastructure. There was a water district that was formed, the freshwater district, and we have installed a 48-inch line that will deliver up to about 30 million gallons of water a day if needed. So again, we have addressed that. With that project in place, it gives us the understanding of what it means from a regional standpoint to work with these communities, addressing affordability, the transparency, because you really want to work with your community. Our council was very involved. Our community gave public input, made sure that they understood the process. And that's what I really and thoroughly enjoy about this water partnership, is being able to work with these mayors, the staff, and the public to better understand what our long-term needs. As mayor of Midland, and as I was campaigning, talking about the regional approach, today we've addressed our short-term needs. It's important that we begin to talk about future generations. We know that a city cannot thrive economically without water. Midland has the oil and gas economy that is booming and doing really well today, as well as these other communities in West Texas. So to keep that going and alive, we know that we need water. In addition, we have strong universities. We have strong economic climate. We have strong business climate just in general. So again, we understand the importance of water. Conservation. We live in the desert, and it's so important that we continue talking about conservation. Regardless of what water supply we might have in place today, we continually talk about conservation. As I've worked with these mayors, that has been the very top priority, is that we will never forget conservation. Living in the desert, it's very dry. In Midland, we were using 40 million gallons of water a day 4 years ago. Today, we're using 20. So our citizens understand it. They've accepted it. I'm sure these mayors and these cities have done the same. And that's how we'll approach it from a regional standpoint. Visiting with the senator today in Abilene, it's great to see that we have the state participation. There's state monies available, If we do go down that road, then we will be very transparent and understanding of how we're going to use those dollars. So I can tell you on behalf of the mayor, on behalf of Midland, and the city council, our citizens, we're very excited about this partnership. We look forward to working with these communities. This is going to be an exciting regional approach, the first of its kind, and mayors, thank you for allowing us to be a part of it. With that being said, Mayor Morrison.
Thank you, sir. Well, I do have the closing remarks here, and it has been a fun day. We started off at 8:15 in Midland this morning, and we made the announcement to the Midland folks. Then we were in Abilene at 1, and we made the announcement there. And now we have finished up here in San Angelo to tell the people in our community about the West Texas Water Partnership. This is a very important thing that we have done. We have many problems that are the same in Midland, Abilene, and Odessa. We have many of the same needs, and this is it. All of our communities need safe, dependable water, that it will be available for our children and our grandchildren when they turn on that tap. We also have gone to the Hickory, so we also are providing for some short-term water, as Abilene and Midland have also. But we're looking 40, 50, 100 years down the road. What will our community have then? We must have clean water for our community, for industry, and for businesses. This is important that we find a long-term water solution, and that is what the West Texas Water Partnership is about. We are West Texas, and West Texas works together. And this partnership is vitally important for that. Before selecting any water supplies in any area, there will be some criteria that will have to be met. It will have to be approved by the governing bodies of the city councils, and the city administrations in all of the 3 cities. We will listen to the public, because the public will also be involved in this, and we will have meetings. We will listen to your concerns. This is also very important. The project, whatever it is, and there has not been a water source that has been picked at this time. We have looked at multiple sources. It must be affordable. It must be something that we can afford. The city of San Angelo cannot go this alone. That's why we need our partners from Abilene and Midland, because they have the same needs. There will be environmental studies. And also, we don't want to go into an area and take water. We want to be partners with the water so that everyone is able to win in this. Those that sell the water, and also the cities that need the water and buy it. It's got to be a benefit to the entire region, and this is something that we are all committed to. The bottom line is we need water. We need water for the long-time solution to our cities, and we are looking for it. And this partnership of West Texans working together with a common cause on common goals, I think is probably the best thing that has ever been done for our areas. And I am very proud of you guys. I'm proud of Midland, I'm proud of Abilene, and I'm proud of the City Council and people of San Angelo that have allowed us to go into this partnership so that we can search for this. We are committed to transparency, and we're going to look for some long-term water. And I thank you very, very much for being with us today. I thank the mayors. I think we're on to something good here. Chief?
With that said, of course, we do have all 3 mayors available for any questions that you may have. They'd be more than happy to answer those questions. So with that said, if you want to throw up some questions after, we'd be happy to answer those.
It's all, Monique, it all comes down to money. Hey, Mayor, were you speaking to the mic? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And again, it all comes down to money. To develop these water sources are extremely expensive, and they're more expensive than we can do as a city. That's why we need the cooperation and the partnership of our sister cities. Right now, there are 3. If down the road we find that there can be 4, 5, 6, if we can add partners to this, then we take the total price and we divide it by the amount of partners. So we can't do it by ourselves, Monique. It has to be done with a partnership. Jerry?
And let me just say, my predecessor, Mayor Wes Perry, sat down originally with Mayor Archibald and the mayors here from San Angelo, and so this has kind of been forthgoing. One is what came out of is the partnership. We've created a relationship. We all have an understanding that conservation, monetarily, what we're talking about infrastructure, the need for water for the future, We have an understanding, a very good understanding that if one area is doing well with water and another area is in very dry conditions, then how can we assist that community? So as you can see, this is a true partnership. It's a true regional approach. It's the first of its kind. You have mayors who are very open-minded, councils that we hope that will support it, staff members are behind it, and then we get our community involved. So this has been the blessing of having that. In addition to that, I'll just use Midland as an example. We've created a small reclamation plant. We're experiencing it. We haven't brought it online yet. But one is we can take that project on a smaller scale, bring it to the West Texas Water Partnership Group and say, this is what we're doing as far as reclamation goes. Now, we'll tell you a little bit more and bring the history to you. Same ideas from these communities. Mayor, the San Angelo mayor, the mayor from Abilene, working on great projects that we can bring to the West Texas Partnership and share.
Go ahead, Jim. I can't answer that.
I know that right now we do have an ordinance in place that allows us to address the, as far as restrictions based on how much water we do have in our lakes. And basically what we do is we monitor anything above 24 months. Of course, we're in level 1. And then as those the waters actually start going down, we start limiting the amount of water that can be consumed. At this point, we're at 1 day per every 14 days to make sure that we're enforcing our conservation efforts. Again, it just really depends on the water that we do have. I know that there's been talks, Mayor, and also some council members, that we may want to even become a little bit stricter on that water use as well. But again, we do have conservation efforts in place in the form of ordinances to make sure that we are reducing the amount of water that is being consumed.
It's real interesting. One time I was talking to my sister who lives in Houston, and she said, "Oh yes, we've got water restrictions. We can only water 3 days a week." And to which I went, "Whoa, now, is that conservation or is that just a convenience?" And I said, "Well, we can only water once a week." And I don't think she could comprehend what just once a week, and what would happen when I said, and if it doesn't get better, it would go to once every 2 weeks. And some people who have never thought about year-round conservation, that's really an eye-opener. And to think about, there could be a point in time, and we've had some tough times in Abilene before, where we've banned all outdoor watering. We've banned car washes. I mean, even commercial car washes. We've banned about everything to conserve water. And that's what it's going to take. And we have a year-round plan in place. We've had it there for almost 10 years. And as a result, I think our people are starting to get it as a whole city. When I go out and talk to groups, the Kiwanis Club or a school or university campus or whatever, one of the two things, I make everyone promise me 2 things. And I actually make them raise their hand and repeat after me. And one of them says, "I promise that I will not waste water." And the second one is, "I promise I will not complain about the rain." And I think that's another thing we got to start thinking about. The rain is what brings us the surface water. It's what brings water to the groundwater aquifers. And so we've got to keep working in conservation. I think anybody that would want to come to join us in this partnership, I think all of us would have an expectation that they would conserve water like we've been doing. So it's a way of life now. It's not an option any longer.
I know there were some questions last year in terms of the financial outlay. What's the initial commitment from each city in terms of spending on this project?
We are now in stage 2 of the project. The first stage, what was it, 300? The first stage was about 300 and change per city, and that was to get us started, to set the groundwork up, to hire the consultants, to hire the engineers, to hire the lawyers, and to get everything started and get everything moving. Now, we have completed stage 1. We are now in stage 2 of this project, And this is probably going to be about a $3 million stage. It could be a little higher. But we initially said it would be about $3 million. And this, hopefully, we will get into, when we make a decision where we can get our water, that we begin to then prove the water. So we're in stage 2 right now. But that's been the commitment thus far.
I'll make it just to tell you what about water. So much of your cost in building, like we are building a reservoir, has everything to do with finding the engineers that know how to build reservoirs, number one. Number two, that know how to build pipelines. Number three, that know the geology and the geography, the terrain, to know that you could build a reservoir there. And it's a very long process. When we get through with the plans and the permitting for building Cedar Ridge Reservoir, we will have spent $12 million. Now, that's approximately a $250 million project. So when you think about it, you're spending about 5% of the total cost in all of the engineering, the design work, the ecological, the environmental, the archaeological studies that are having to be done if you go and build a reservoir, the pipeline right-of-way, the easements. It is a tremendously expensive thing. But I keep coming back to this question, can we afford not to? Because all of the job creation in our cities, all of the air bases that we share in our cities, is of no value if we don't have water for the future. It's that important. You know, people will come and look at you to determine if you have water for the future, if they're going to think about bringing a business to this city or ours or Midland. They're going to be looking at, do you have the workforce? Do you have this? But one of the questions they will always ask is, do you have adequate water? And if you don't, I promise you they're going to where there is going to be adequate water. So we find ourselves in this situation where we must provide for our future. Because if we don't look after ourselves, who is? And that is nobody. We're going to have to really tackle our projects individually that are our short term. And then when we get to those long terms, us coming together will make for a great partnership. So.
For residents, I guess, in each of the cities, does this mean anything as far as you can tell, financially, or are there any implications for the average resident?
No, and we really haven't got far enough along to actually put prices together. But at this time, I would say no. Yes, sir.
I hate to put you on the spot. Does anybody have a guess at how long the time frame of stage 2 is likely to run? Year, 2 years, 3 years?
Probably 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years.
I think we're looking at a period of up to about 3 years. And in doing that, I think we'll explore things. If we find out that something doesn't work, we won't spend money to do something that we know is not possible. There's no reason for that. Talking about the value of water, not too long ago I gave the State of the City speech. Matter of fact, it was just last week. And I asked all the people that were there, I said, would you be willing, think about this, would you be willing to pay 1 cent a gallon for fresh drinkable water delivered to your house? Under pressure even. I know what you pay at the gas pump for your car, about $3+. But would you be willing to pay 1 cent per gallon? And everyone kind of looked around and goes, yeah, I'd pay 1 cent a gallon. I said, well, in Abilene, we'll sell you 2.5 gallons for 1 cent. And the people haven't thought about that for a long time. That water is relatively cheap today. It really is. It is very undervalued. Because, see, I remember when we paid 20 cents for a gallon of gas. Of course, that was a long time ago. But how did gas go from 20 cents to $3 and even $4? And water has stayed relatively low. I mean, in Abilene, we'll sell you 1,000 gallons for $2.50, roughly, give or take some pennies. But that shows you that the value of water someday is going to go up because there's just not as much as water as we have had in the past. And a lot more people are using it. Businesses, agriculture, oil and gas, wind energy, everybody is relying on water, and it's not going to change. So we've got to conserve it, we've got to find it, we've got to utilize it to the best of our ability, and working together is one of those ways. So.
What, Clint?
With this getting guys coming together, this being such a unique situation in the state of Texas, is there any chance for any state support or help in this area as well?
You want to answer that, Jerry?
Okay. Yeah, the great question. As we were just talking about, the Senator Frazier was up in Abilene and actually chaired pushing House Bill 6 through. It was House Bill 6, $8 billion. And so as we get to better understand where we're going with our water partnership and forming districts, and I really actually think we're at the forefront of this project, we'll be able to tap into those resources. So once we've identified maybe a source and created a district or whatever it's going to take to go after those resources, yes, we'll have those available funds. And I'm probably going to have Mayor Archibald allude more to that.
Well, one of the things I want to remind everybody that Proposition 6 back in November was overwhelmingly supported in the state of Texas, over 73%. I got to tell you, very few things get 73% as a state constitutional amendment. But you know what? That amendment was about taking water from our rainy day fund, which is our savings account in the state of Texas, using that for a loan fund that is repaid with interest. But there's no one that has a better rating for indebtedness than the state of Texas. I mean, they've got plenty of capacity for bonds. But that gives the cities and municipalities and water districts and all kinds of groups that are into water, it gives them the chance to go after resources that they couldn't get any other way. And it's guaranteed by the state of Texas. And so that puts all of us in a position of being able to say the state of Texas realizes that there's a need for water. You've heard the governor, the lieutenant governor, the speaker of the House all talk about there's about 1,200 plus people a day moving to Texas. For our future to hold all of those people and to see our state double in population between now and about the year 2050, we're going to have roads, electricity, and water. And you can drive around on crowded roads easier than you can not having water. When you don't have any water, that stops all growth. It stops all industry. It stops a lot of things. So water is that important. As I say to people all the time, try living without it. And that's that simple.
We have our short-term fix, which would be the Hickory and then the one that Midland has. What do we have for all three cities that is an emergency plan? Let's just say we get no rain this year. Ivy is nearly dry. Nobody gets water from Ivy. And we turn on our faucet and nothing comes out. Do we have an emergency plan to get water here?
If it comes to that, we dealt with that in San Angelo back in the 50s. And we found water in different areas of the north part of town. We were able to get water in for our citizens. Right now, with our Hickory coming on, we are talking about 6 to 9 million gallons a day, which will almost take care of our city. We can get by on this. Until something else is found, we've got some wells, some aquifers around here. The problem is with the aquifers is as when it doesn't rain, the aquifers go down, the lakes go down, the rivers go down. It's all tied together. So let's. Well, there's a whole lot of things, Ms. Olson, we'd have to look at if it comes to that. Right now, we have enough water to take care of us, even if it doesn't rain, until we get Hickory on. So we're San Angelo's planning on Hickory. If something else happens, we'll worry about it then. Do we have any other questions? If not, thank you so very much for coming. I appreciate the press. We appreciate the people that's here. This is all very interesting. It's all very new. It's all very exciting. Thank you for being here. Thank you, mayors.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.